This is showing the technique that I use to bind my books, my ATC technique books that we use in class. So this is the one I'm going to bind as an example today, but I'll show you the best thing about this particular technique is, whether you can see that really well, it looks really neat. It's a neat stitch. The main thing is you can actually open the book up flat and every page will just flip over really, really easily. You can see I use a cloth tape because this is just like Basil, it's only cardstock, so it's very thin. So if you punched holes and then tried to bind it, the paper would tear. So by putting a bit of cloth tape on there, that just gives it a little bit more strength. I used to bind at the side, so that's book number 24. This is back to book number 16. So the same principle applies. It just opens up nice and flat. And as you can see, you can have, these are quite textured, so they're quite thick, and the binding allows it to open up flat, but then it doesn't look like a wedge as you're doing it. So what I use is wax linen thread, and this is how I measure what I need for my 3 holes for the book. I prefer 3 holes. I just do the center hole and then the other 2 a centimetre in from each edge. So how I measure is from, yeah, sorry about the crappy drawing, from fingertip all the way to your opposite shoulder, and that gives you approximately 1 metre. Okay, so then I just do 3 of those. Obviously, if you're not doing as many pages, most of my books have between 9 and 12 pages in them, so it takes about 6 months to do a book because the classes are fortnightly. Okay, so I've got 3 pieces here. So I'm just going to move that out of the way. So whatever book you're going to do, this is actually called slipknot technique, but if you Google slipknot, you don't get this, you actually get lots about the band. So this, I thought it would be easier for me just to do a video. So what you need to do is put your 2 uneven ends to your 2 cut ends together and have your folded end. Have your book facing you with your holes ready. Turn it over. Bring the back page down, and this is the only time you're going to put this folded edge through. So it goes on. Of course, I haven't punched that. So let me just do that. So open the loop up, put your 2 pieces through, and that's the beginning of the back page. Okay, I've just grabbed my crocodile because I need to just punch these holes through here first. Right, so the first one is done. I tend to work across the whole book because it can be more difficult if you're doing, like if you bind one whole book, one whole side rather, and then you try and work on the middle hole or the other end. So it's just easier to do it this way. So what I'll do is I'll do a couple of pages. So each time as I'm doing this back page, as I said, this is the only time that you're working with the folded edge. Every other time you're going to be working with the open edges. Okay, so there's your first one done. Then you need to bring your next page down. Pick up your outside ones and put that through, stick them together. That's a good thing about the wax thread, is it will stick to itself. Put that through. Now here you can see, whoops, let's have a look, shift that out of the way. You can see that that's nice and flat. You don't want this twisted because then your binding looks crooked. So that goes through there, through that loop, and you pull it up. So you can pull from each side to make it even. This is hard because I normally do it flat down. Let me do it down here like that. That's better. So the second one, exactly the same. Put your two ends, and they don't have to be even because you're not working with those ends yet. Make sure this is not twisted. Make sure it's nice and flat. Let me see if I can go a little bit closer. So that goes through there. And just pull that straight up. You can tug on each one so that it's right. And the last one through there. Open up the loop, make sure that it's not twisted, and pull it up. Next page, exactly the same. You have to be careful that you don't pick up two pages together, because there's nothing worse than getting to the end of the book and you've stuck two pages together. So that goes through the loop. So you're always working front to back. Don't try and put the loops through the back way. They've got to go from the top of the page down through that loop, through the hole rather, and then through the loop, hold the page and pull that. And you can see it's just sitting quite nicely there. So you continue to do that until your total book is finished, and just do one more page so you can see. Pick up your ends, top to bottom, through the loop not twisted, and pull. And you can understand now why I use the cloth tape to strengthen the spine of these pages, because it would just tear. The wax linen thread is really quite strong, and so it won't break, but it will tear lighter weight pages, so you need to make sure that you reinforce it somehow. Washi tape doesn't work, it's too soft. This is like a plastic sort of a tape, like duct tape, I guess. That would work as well. Or if you've got the cloth bookbinding tape, that would work. Anything that is strong enough to withstand the constant opening and closing that you're going to end up doing with a book. I've used this technique on books for people for gifts, because it's nice and easy to open it up to any page. It opens up flat. You can put things in there like mementos and things. It doesn't have to have just flat writing or, you know, just pictures or anything like that. You can put other things in there. Okay, so that's that. I'm going to stop now and then come back and show you how you finish it off. Right, so I've done all of my pages. This is the first page because it's the beginning of the book, because you start from the back and work forward. I'm just going to put that through so that you can see once again how it's done. You get quite quick at doing this after doing the same thing over and over for a few years. Okay, that's the last page. Now we've got the front cover. So it's exactly the same as if you were doing a page, top to bottom, through the loop, making sure it's not twisted. Pull it nice and firm. Do that along your three sides. Okay, not twisted. Okay. Right. So now you need to separate the strands. Take one of the strings, and it doesn't matter which one it is, poke it through the hole so it goes out through the first page, out there, bring it around to the front, and then knot. and I tend to knot it maybe half a dozen times, 6 or 7 times. The strings are long enough at the end for you to be able to hang things off them if you want. Other times I've just trimmed that down short. So exactly the same here. Separate your strands, push it through. Then it will have to go in between, because you can't take it down there. You want it to go in between those pages, back up to the top. And then tie that off in a knot. Okay, once more, separate them, doesn't matter which one you use, through the hole so that it pokes out the other side. Bring it around. And tie it off. Okay, that's it. And that is the book, totally bound, ready for you to put your pages in. So once again, you can see, opens up nice and flat. Okay.